You sure? Okay. And how does that affect you, Mary, if you want to walk this? You're
I'm
walking
walking.
okay?
Yeah, I think it's actually easier. Hi, Eli.
Yeah, yeah, in a moment. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I knew what you were doing. You can sit down. Whenever
Yeah,
you're
when
ready.
you're tired and you had enough, this is gonna go on for another 2, 3 more minutes, and then you.
Give them a minute. They like social.
Mary, did you get a new Mac? Has that been with you for a while? Okay.
I've literally doused two of them. I destroyed two Macs with liquid.
With liquid?
I've spent $4,000 on equipment because of being an
I
idiot.
got a very funny question
I
for you.
know.
Let's see
Yeah.
how your mind goes.
Go ahead.
What would
I'm sorry, honey.
Peter Commander
Right,
have said
when-
about what she's wearing on her face?
Oh, this is dangerous.
I remember Peter always
Yeah.
saying, "Watch out what's around your
No,
neck."
he was
a nut about
no, but he
that.
was a
David,
tactical
can you
guy.
stand here for a
Yep,
second?
yep,
Just
yep.
stand there and you can just talk to Ray, and I'm going to go in the other room and see if it's being recorded. Okay? Just talk to Ray.
Talk to Ray. Talk to
Talk
Ray.
to Ray, Dr. Ray.
So let's talk about what's most important.
Last Sunday we'll have everybody here.
No, the 6 of us getting together for dinner, maybe
Yes.
a turtle and wolf or something like that, and have our fried chicken dinner.
Let's do
Say
it.
the
And
date.
have our fried chicken dinner.
Why don't we
I'll
come up-
put it together.
Put it
I'll
together.
Okay.
I'm
Let's do it
there.
now.
I'm there.
Totally, I'm ready. Let's do the fried chicken thing and stuff like that.
Yeah, we can do a Sunday afternoon too.
Totally.
Yep.
That
Or
works.
Sunday early evening.
That works completely.
Because it's really, we just have to order in the
Completely
time.
works.
Okay.
Right? You want to?
You're on,
you want to
you're
call
on,
in?
you're on YouTube,
Yeah.
so
Run YouTube. Okay.
I just want to make it like that.
Our parents, come on down, have a seat for a moment. We will be back up in a second. Moms and dads, we're going to ask you to come on seated over here for just a moment.
Yeah.
We're going to push you to the front. Gentlemen, ladies, boys. You know, that's a good idea. When you're seated, and if you're with someone, just move over to that someone. It's a good idea if you're together. If they don't want to be with that person, I don't have any suggestions right now. First of all, welcome again. In a moment, you're going to be walking around again. We made a switch in. Let me just wait. It's like an interview. Maybe gets a job out of this. I don't know. So if I can ask, we're just going to begin over here just for a moment, and we are going to tour once again. I think everyone has a comfort level with that. For the third time this morning, I'm so glad that you're here. Really appreciate it. It's important. We're going to make. I'm going to send out something just so you know, future tense. I'm going to send out something that will talk about rolling out what next year will look like. Is this working? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear.
Yeah, there is a beeping. We'll talk about next year. We're going to obviously make an effort, a strong effort, as long as everything is appropriate and well and guidelines and all that, to be together once again. And especially important for me is our 7th graders for next year. It's incredibly important. They missed out a lot this year, and we're going to try to do some of that programming that we had intended to do this year for next year. Again, information will be forthcoming. And big thing that we do in the 7th grade, and it really bonds the boys and girls together, we have opportunities to go places as a grade. We're going to go Friday nights to West Point and certain iconic synagogues in the city and into New York City, et cetera, et cetera. So we have that moment that we want to bring them together. We will bring them obviously safely, and we're just hoping that everything will be better, okay? Just we'll be in a better place. We'll talk, well, I'll actually communicate with you at some point later on. The other thing that I want you to know, the 7th grade is really, really important because that's the year most of our boys and girls are going to have their bar bat mitzvah. And we will be sending, again, information out about that, opportunities to go on with Cantor and practice, as an example, as a group. This is really, really important. Next year, I'm moving away from the mic for a second. Next year, there is no, quote, Hebrew class. Okay, doesn't have a Hebrew class. The only time they're going to meet for Hebrew, if we follow what we're hoping to do, will be at 6 o'clock on Monday nights before we start our regular programming here on Monday nights. And Cantor will be working with them, and then you'll have a coach to work with. Okay, you'll be given roughly 8 to 9 months before the bar mitzvah date, a coach to work with, it's independent, etc. So there's a lot of moving parts. Do not, and I know I say this and people just hesitate, they feel whatever, do not hesitate to let us know if you don't understand something, if there's something that you need. We don't mind holding hands, we don't mind guiding you, we don't mind any of those things that will be helpful to you, because I know there's a lot of questions, especially how we're going to unroll things for the actual, in place, what's going to happen in the sanctuary, what's possible, etc. So we're here for you. Going back to this morning, one of my, I have about 5 favorite things that we do every single year. The Auburn Graduation, which is our high school boys and girls, and I can name 4 others. But one of those 4 is this morning. This is our Legacy Heritage program. And I think Rabbi Cantor kind of hit on it a little bit before, just to give you an idea. Memories, they talk about memories. Memories, if you read Wiesel and so many other people, is a connecting piece. It's a fiber that kind of connects everything. When we have that moment in time that something connects a generation to another generation is very, very meaningful. It also means that we will hopefully play, or the young people will play it forward, okay? Memory is what it's all about. And if you read Wiesel more than anybody else, our role is to really keep those memories alive consistently and constantly. And this is what we're trying to do. So what we're going to do, I'm going to give it over to Dr. Z first, and he's going to give you what the program will look like today. Normally, in pre-pandemic times, we'd be ending our program with what all Jewish things end with, food, okay?
Which I apologize to the parents, because I did promise that, and so my apologies.
So I lied, not her, okay? Don't blame her. We just felt that for our first time together, that food is just maybe a little bit uncomfortable for some people, but we're hoping that that will transfer out very, very quickly. So let's begin our program, and afterwards, just so you know that, well, you know what, I'm going to give it over to Dr. Z, okay? And 4th time I'm saying it, I'm happy you're here. Okay.
We're happy to be here. Yeah.
Guys, good morning. Good to see you, everybody. I can't believe we're actually seeing each other in person, and I'm going to see you through an inch box. My eyes have been deteriorating, so is my brain and my body. Before we get started, you should know that every Sunday with your children is Lena. Lena is our madricha. She's a high school student who comes, and she's been with us in 6th grade. I think this is our 4th year with Lena, and she does anything and everything. And she's pretty incredible. And she sits with your children, and she works with your kids, and she supports us and stuff like that. By the way, I'll brag for a moment. She's a high school senior, just accepted to Vassar.
Yay.
And so she has, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Worked really hard.
And for your children too, for the post bar mitzvah experience, it's funny, David talked about the Auburn graduation. It's a 12th grade graduation. You go and you watch the children that have committed to staying in Hebrew school or soccer or wherever they're committed to. But the kids that come up here are always like, hi, my name is, I'm going to, Brown, I'm going to, Princeton, I'm doing this. And the kids that somehow or another manage to commit are committed and find a sense of integrity and do it to the very end. And it's pretty incredible. That's Lena, by the way. So
Can I interrupt?
you may,
before you
please,
go on?
please.
I'm glad you started with Lena and
Well-
anyone else that's a madrich for our program. So we started something a little different. A few years ago, to be a madrich, we wanted the boys and girls to be in 8th grade. That was pretty much the norm. And they come here and they assist the teachers, and it really works out very well. And there's a connecting, talking about connecting, it's connected to our temple, to everyone here in the religious school, and the teachers specifically. But one of the things I really want you to know, we kind of changed this a little bit because there was people wanted it. Once your son or daughter have had their B'nai Mitzvah, we not only welcome them, we encourage them to come and join our Madrichim program and to be a supporting part of the teachers here. And it keeps them, my main thing is connected, and we will have programming specific to them. We'll have learning opportunities. And if nothing else, it's great on the college resume. I'll go there. Okay?
That's the bottom line. That's what you guys want to hear. It does look really good.
Anyway, pretty impressive
And
for
it's
a,
impressive.
pretty impressive for a high school senior. Not that she's going to a great school, but she showed up on a Sunday morning at
I know.
8:30 Sunday morning and still enjoying her Saturday night. So, but there's a sense of commitment, right? A
Although
sense
she
of-
did text me and say, what time do I have to be there again? And I was
Okay,
like,
but guess
"We
what?
have-"
She's here. You
I
dragged
know.
yourself in, but she's here. I think it's pretty
We all
incredible.
can remember being that age and Sunday mornings were rough.
It's a little fuzzy for me, actually. That's a long time ago. A long time ago. Okay, we'll get your program started. Before we do that, a gracious thank you for me, Ms. Cornelis and Mr. Escovitz, Lena, for what you've done to make sure that your children have been part of the program. It's been incredible for us. I'm sure it's been a challenge like everybody else. Children are sitting, waiting patiently. They're well prepared, and that's because you guys, obviously, we did this together, and it was really you, and we thank you for that. So I'll read you. Dear students, parents, family members, and all of us that are in our Temple B'nai Or community, Ms. Cornelison and I would like to welcome you to our annual 6th grade Temple B'nai Or Jewish Heritage Museum. My name is Raymond Zerkel, also known as Dr. Z. And before we get started, you must know that this program happens because of the work that Ms. Cornelison does. I do nothing with this. She's in touch with the Jewish Heritage Museum down in Manhattan. She gets the program started for us. She takes care of all the paperwork. She emails you.
Sorry.
But this is her work. And I'm actually very grateful to Robin every year that we do this. And you should know also that we get to do this because of Mr. Iskovitz. He allows us, he gives us the space and the opportunities. If we see something that's wonderful, he's the first guy to say, let's go. If we end up on our face, okay, he pick us up and we move us along and stuff like that. But most of the stuff we pick is usually pretty good. So the goal for this project, for our students, your children, was to have an open dialogue and discussion about your family's history and hopefully your family's Jewish past. Lador Vador, which we sing a lot here, literally means to generation and generation. And it's the ultimate theme of today's Jewish Heritage Museum. This means your family's heritage, passing your family's heritage to this generation, your children's generation, and the following generations to come. The artifacts on display today and their history help to further promote each child's understanding of their own family's past, their understanding about how many family members, distant they may be, had the courage, the strength, the fortitude to endure and make the journey from different and difficult parts of the world, and to have landed here in the United States of America. Ultimately, all of us finding our way here into New Jersey. It's some of it's by luck. I think a lot of it's by design, right? People work really hard to change their situation, and we're all here today, and we're better for that. Many of the artifacts have a Jewish connection, some do not, but all these artifacts will tell a story of each child's individual history, their family's history, the story that has led them here today with all of us. It's your Jewish heritage. It's your Jewish connection. It's the past that we hold on to and remember that is so valuable, that helps lead us into the future. if we can, what we'd like you to do is, we're gonna each,
Can I do one?
oh, yes.
I just
of
have
course,
one.
please, you should
Normally I
have
don't say,
10.
I let him talk. 'cause-
Of course, and I don't shut up, so go.
No,
You're
no,
up.
no. I just, Dr. Z, I had the realization this year about something. And as we were doing it, I was like, I've never really thought about it this way. But we tell, Dr. Z and I tell stories about we bring in artifacts and kind of give them an example. And mine is always something that my grandmother, who was born in Poland and emigrated here on a boat and all that whole story. I'll skip through that part. But when we started this project, I was like, this is so cool. I went to Living Museum, like you said. I went downtown and I went through a whole program and learned how to teach it. And but it didn't occur to me until I had gone through that program that to go home to my mom and be like, Mom, do we have anything from grandma that, I never had any artifacts. And I don't know if you guys before this project had ever thought about it or had asked your parents or grandparents if they had anything that they brought over. I know I just didn't even occur to me until we started this project. And my mom actually is like, yeah, as a matter of fact, I have one thing that grandma brought back over on the boat with her. She was 8. The family brought back, and it was, one of those big pots that you put water in, and that was it. That was the only thing they brought.
Like a water pitcher?
5 of them, yeah. And it was
Big,
like one of
huge
those
water
big
pitcher?
jugs, and that was all that, they had basically brought. And just thinking about it now, and after all these years, I'm like, it's just so interesting. That was the only thing that they brought. And if I had never done this project, I would never have asked that question of my mother, because it's not like, something that she would have been like, hey, by the way, look at this pot grandma brought over. So that's kind of what we want to tell the kids, like, this is something, and they're so young to get this. They're only, 12 years old to like have that information already to be able to pass down and kind of to know. And that's one of my passion things about this project. I just love it so much because we always ask the kids after every time they present, right? We say, did you know that your candlesticks, where they were from? And some of them know like some of it, but a lot of them say,
No idea.
I had no idea. No idea. And now I know the story. And I can't tell you how imperative it is to pass these stories down so that they get that and they understand it, and then they can remember it and keep passing it down. So that's why I love this project so much.
I think it's so perfect.
It's so perfect.
Really, the idea is that you want to keep the connection going and moving it forward, and
Yeah,
Jewish connection
and you
going.
find cool stuff on the way.
Right, and you,
there's some really
and you
cool,
get great stories.
great stories.
I'm going to tell mine 30 seconds worth. I
Yeah.
just got, my sister wrote an email to the cousins, just randomly. She said, do you remember like cousin Faye? Does anybody have any recollections? My dad's first cousin.
Yeah.
My dad would be 100 now. So if you remember him and stuff, but we were kids growing up. And no, I don't remember him. So now all of a sudden people started chiming in, and my second cousin sends I don't even know what it is. It's a ship invoice. I don't know what the right word is. It's some sort of a manifest.
Yeah.
That was him. That was my grandfather when he came over from
so
Russia,
cool.
that
Yeah.
he was able to board the boat, had all his
Yeah.
information on and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and he went in steerage. It was a 2-month trip, the whole thing. But I'm like, unless you ask that question,
You'll never,
to my point.
Yeah.
Guys,
So-
enough of us talking.
I know,
That's not
right?
what we're here for. So
They're
here's
like,
how
"No."
we're gonna do it. We're gonna actually, let me tell you, please.
I'm gonna
We're
turn
gonna
you guys
start you on the
around.
left side. We're just gonna move around. We're gonna have you move instead of the children move, okay? Instead of the kids. And I'll make sure that they stand. You can see everything. You don't necessarily have to crowd in. I'll make sure that promise you can see. So we're gonna start with our first one. If I could ask you guys to come around and we'll start with that.
No, you're good, hon. You're great. And I'm gonna stick that right there so that we can hear you. So, and don't worry, just do your thing.
So here's a good way to do this. I'm going to tell a story about Asian properties. And this is my artifact. And you could talk. I just want people to be able to know your name and know who you are. Okay? Hi, my name is. Okay, you stand up. You don't mind standing up, Sam. Can you stand up?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Sam's gonna.
All right, hello, I'm Sam, and this is my artifact. It was a Kiddush cup my grandparents bought for my parents that they used for their wedding, and my brothers used for their bar mitzvah. And I hope in a year when I get bar mitzvah, I can use it too. And,
So that's the Kiddush cup?
yeah,
Do you know what it's made out of?
I believe silver.
I think that would be very accurate. And what's on the outside of it? What does it look like those designs are?
The fruit of the vine, or wine.
It was beautiful. And it originated, where did that first come from?
Leave Israel.
You think it was made in Israel? And who was the first person to possess that and own that?
My grandparents.
Your grandparents. So
Yeah.
grandparents,
Yes.
parents, now down to you, and used in bar mitzvahs.
Yeah.
And other ceremonies.
Yeah.
Have a round for Sam, please. Please, thank you. Wonderful, Sam. Thank you, brother. Perfect. Okay. Okay.
Hello, my name is Ethan, and my artifact is the talis bag with my grandfather's talis. And my great grandparents bought it for him for his bar mitzvah, and it is made of velvet. And it was not taken over from Europe because they were already in the States by the time. So I believe it was got or bought somewhere in Jersey City, 1947. And the importance of it is that my grandfather used it for his bar mitzvah.
Spectacular. Prime examples of Vador, generation to generation, right? That's exactly what we're looking at.
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Thomas Barrett, and my project would be 2 sterling silver candlesticks from the 1920s that were from my great-great-grandparents. These are from, well, their place of origin is Hungary, and they were bought by my grandparents, but then when the Nazis invaded, they had to hide them in a cabinet that said poison so they wouldn't take the candlesticks, hoping that later generations would take them and do whatever they wanted with them. So after the war ended, my mother's aunt, I'm pretty sure, came back to Hungary, grabbed the candlesticks, and immigrated to America with them, and passed them down through generations to my parents, and then, well, probably to me, or woman.
What do you mean? Right.
Okay, so hello, my name is William Barry, and my artifact is a Kiddush cup from my uncle. He got this when working on when he was in Israel, he worked on a kibbutz, and he bought, with his money, he bought this Kiddush cup, and he bought it for his parents. And then what happened is when they died, when my grandparents died, they gave it to my mother, and then what ended up happening is I ended up getting it. And now it's really special because it shows it is like
It's special for a million gazillion reasons. You
Yeah.
can try to list every one of them
I
if you
could
like,
try.
but I think that's a real sound. Thank you for bringing this here.
I'm Lindsay Brenneman, and this is my artifact, my great grandma Esther's Shabbos candles. My great grandma Esther was a beautiful and very religious woman. She considered her nationality to be Jewish, not Polish. She observed the Sabbath every week of her life, walked to synagogue, and lit these Shabbos candlesticks. These candlesticks have been in our family for 3 generations, and my mother remembers when she was a little girl, her mother polishing them every week. These candlesticks are very important to me and my family because they remind us of my great grandma Esther.
My name is Gabe Cannon. My artifact is a Kiddush cup. Its measurement is 4.5 inches. It's made of metal. The place of origin was my grandparents, and I think it was made in the 1920s. And the person who lent this to me was my mom. The story of this was my grandma bought this item and gave it to my mom for her wedding, and it was passed down from generation to generation. The significance of this artifact in my family is that it will be passed down every generation in the future.
Do you still use it?
I'm not entirely sure yet.
Okay. Not yet. All right.
Okay,
awesome.
thanks, Kate. Thank you.
I want to put it on the tally.
Hi, I'm Addie Berman. This is the chuppah that my parents got married under. The doves are what my grandmother from my dad's side painted on it. It's roughly 5 by 7 feet, and I'm pretty sure it was made in New York and around 1999 when my parents got married. It's important because my parents were married under it, and it represents the incorporation of the arts into my family.
Are you gonna use it for yours?
It'll
Yeah, maybe.
fall out.
Slow your roll,
All
slow
right.
that roll. Right down.
I like that. Hi, I'm Lexi Fallon, and I have 2 taluses with me and a talus bag. Their measurement, well, we measured this one, the newer one. It's 61 by 36 inches. And the materials are cotton and linen. So my mom gave me this velvet bag. It was actually had 2 taluses in it. This and don't want to rip it. This. Both were my great grandpa's. One is really, really old and very dirty. We think he must have gotten them for his bar mitzvah. The newer one, much cleaner, was purchased on a trip to Israel. My great grandparents visited Israel and Rome. It was a very big deal. They brought back presents for my mom, my aunt, and my grandma. The significance of the artifact to our family. We don't have many either Jewish artifacts or artifacts from my great grandparents. That's why these are so important. And also, my brother wore this one for his bar mitzvah, and I will probably wear it. We'll see. Oh, also, one was made in the 1930s, one was made in the 1970s. Be a student.
Hi, I'm Bella Levine, and this is my great grandfather's talit. He used it to pray when he went to the synagogue every Saturday, and it's a family heirloom. He gave it to my grandpa, and then he gave it to my dad, and then my dad, it's still in our house. And yeah, it was made in the 1940s. It was made in Brooklyn because my dad's side of the family is from Brooklyn. And yeah, it's really special. And that's pretty much it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Ava Fast, and these are my grandma's candlesticks. I don't have them right now because they're in Miami, but that's what they look like. And the company stopped making them in 1901, and they were given to my great grandparents, my great great grandparents for their wedding, and then it was given to my my great grandparents, and then they like moved all around the country, and then they were given to my grandparents, and that's where they are now in Miami. And that's it.
Hi, my name is Hope Raymond, and my artifact is my grandparents' wedding album. Its measurement is 3.5 by 3 inches, and we don't know where the album was made, but we know it's made of leather, and their wedding was in New York City on October 24th, 1964. This photo album was my great-grandparents' copy of my grandparents' wedding album. It has many interesting pictures, like of my parents saying the vows and breaking the glass. When my great-grandparents died, this album was given to my mom. This artifact is very significant to my family because it represents a very happy time of my grandparents' life.
Hi, my name is Morgan Roach, and my artifact is a tefillin and a sidor. They both
Because what you have to say is really important, and that's going to help.
They both belonged to my great grandfather, Milton Berkowitz. My grandma gave them to me, but in picture form. According to my grandma, my great grandfather got it for his bar mitzvah. The tefillin is made of wood and leather, and the sidor has a cloth purple cover and it's completely in Hebrew. It was made in the USA. Both of them are from the early 1900 because my great grandfather was born in the 1915. It means to my family. It reminds us of our traditions and brings us closer to the past family who did the same things as us.
Thank you, Morgan. It's awesome.
My name's Ariella Robbins, and this is my great-grandmother's Kiddush cup, and it's made of silver, and it's approximately 6.5 inches tall. And she went to Israel when she was older, and she got this for my family, and she gave it to my dad, and it was made in about 1982, and it's really important to my family because my great-grandmother passed away when I was very young, and so I don't really have many things from her, but this is one of the things we get to use, and yeah, that's it for me. Hi, I'm Mavis Siminoff. My artifact is a yarmulke for my parents' wedding. It's about 6 inches long. The material it's made out of is Swede. Its place of origin is in New Jersey, and it was made in April 2005. The people who let me use it are my parents. Due to COVID, I cannot easily get an artifact that represented my family's journey. The artifact that I was able to get sums up the value that my parents have through the stories that they were told. My ancestors experienced religious percussion in Russia. My great-great-grandfather went into an absence without leave in the Russian army. He cannot understand why he needed to fight for a country that did not value him just because he was Jewish. His family and my great-grandmother escaped Russia and traveled by boat to America. They left most of their possessions behind in Russia, but brought their Jewish traditions, values, and some great recipes. My great-grandparents always told my parents how important it was to them that they married someone Jewish to carry on these traditions. My parents were not always one to listen. However, when they met, they realized that their culture and Jewish values were a large thing that they had in common. This yarmulke is from their wedding and represents their desire to pass on their traditions to our family.
My name is Ella Schreiber. My artifact is my great grandma Beatty's menorah. It is 11 inches by 8.5 inches. It's made of metal. It originated in Germany and it was made around 1950. When my great grandma passed away, my mom took it and she lent it to me. My great grandma left Germany with her family for religious freedom. We're not sure exactly when she got this menorah, but we do know how important it was for her to celebrate Jewish holidays with her family. This menorah symbolizes our ability to practice our religion happily and freely. I spent many years lighting the candles on Hanukkah with my great grandma Beatty. Now that she is gone, we will continue to honor her memory and build new ones every year on Hanukkah.
Hello, my name is Kayla Spar, and my artifact is a candle holder that's made out of clay. My friend, my friends made it for my dad, and then on Hanukkah, he made a box of all the Hanukkah supplies he thought we would need, like gelt and dreidels, and then he put that in the box and sent it to us. And then my dad got it, and he looked at it, and it was white, and inside the grooves of the candle holder, he wrote the whole story of Hanukkah with his own hand in blue paint. And now, every year, they send us another box of Hanukkah supplies.
That's awesome. Thanks, Caleb.
Hi, my name is Henry von Stiger. My artifact was made in Israel and symbolizes the Torah scrolls. It was brought back to the USA from my great-grandfather, Herbert Baskin. It has special meanings to me because I was named after him. The lions represent the Lion of Judah. They are a national and cultural symbol. Common traits of the lions are strength, courage, and protection. The top has the menorah, which has 7 candle holders, like the lamp used in the ancient Holy Temple of Jerusalem. The front of the ark has the Star of David and trees, which remind me of the tree of life.
Thank you.
If I could, our students, would you please stand? Our students, please stand. And would you please, students, give your parents and family members a round of applause for the work that they did to help you be where they need to be. So you can. Thank you. You can have a seat now, and that was kind of sad as an applause. So, okay. I'd make you do it again, but let's not push it. Okay. So families, let's just chat for just a few minutes. We're done a little early, but you know, if one person came to you and said, hey, let me show you this really cool artifact, and here's the story behind it, and here's my connection to the past and what the future is going to look like, it'd be a pretty awesome thing. You do something like that and you bring an entire class together or your family together. There's something incredibly powerful about being in a museum and being joined with the same cohort, right? With the same group of people, with the same people that you call as your family, your own, your heritage, your history. It's a really special thing. Robin and I have been doing this for a dozen years plus. This year looked very different. Last year looked very different. We're Jews, we schmooze, we eat. That's the majority of the day. And then we get the kids to tell us a little bit about it. But from Robin and I, from Mr. Iskovitz, we're grateful to you guys for managing your children so well that they can still participate in this program, still be with us in Hebrew school. The normalcy is good. The online stuff is a little wonky, right? So the fact that you're able to manage it and make it, we're grateful for that. L'Dor Vador, our work here is just to sprinkle a little ideas in your head about what needs to be done, strike that, about what you possibly could do at your house and how you'd like to pursue your own Jewish history and heritage. And great stories, incredible stories that need to be passed down. People cannot be forgotten. I have a 30-year-old son. His children will hopefully know me, but not know my father. He's been gone a long time. So I can't X my dad out of history. I mean, it's my, right? So I give those stuff. I give physical representations. I give emotional. I give stories. I give pictures in his head and stuff like that for not only him, but for our Jewish heritage and stuff like that. It's exactly what you guys are doing. It's important to us. So hopefully it's important to you as well. Parents, questions, thoughts, ideas, anything that you'd like to know from us a little bit about this program? You can always email us or call us or something like that. I would also, parents, if you would be so kind, would you please give a round of applause to all of our students? Robin reminded me of something. Right?
I was like, this is really important.
Right, this is really important. So not everybody's got the gift of gab, right? We talk forever. I'm your guy. It's hard to speak publicly. It's hard to speak publicly as an adult. I did some research a long time ago and found out that public speaking was like top 5 fears in the world or something like that. Every one of these guys stood up, looked you in the eyes, spoke proudly about their family and about their history and heritage. You guys are amazing, and we're grateful for that. We know that we put you in that position, and you
Yep.
do a fantastic job.
You guys are great. Someone was saying to me that over there, I was like, when's the last time you guys had to get up? And like, she was like 4th grade. Like that was like 8 years ago, because it feels like so long. So you guys, our students, we commend you. You guys did an incredible job to get up and speak. It's not easy.
And the end of this conversation is, it's just the beginning of the conversation,
Yeah.
right? Hopefully you'll continue it at your home and keep doing these things. Last thing I promised, when my mom's sister was 98 and she was going, and she was gonna pass away, I said to my son, I said, look, dude, you better get in there. He was like 15 or something. It's like, you better get in there and start saying hello a little bit more often, because that opportunity is gonna go by. And I don't know, something, and normally he'd be like, whatever, and just keep moving. And something about that struck him. And now she's been gone for a while, and he says, I'm so grateful that I had an opportunity this last year or two to go and meet with Aunt Hilda and talk with her and ask about her life and where she was. And she showed pictures when she was like 6 and stuff at her Jewish tradition. Hold on. Don't lose that. Please don't lose that. It's just so wonderful. Okay, guys, thank you.
Thank you
Great to
guys
see
so
you. You can
much.
take
You
your
guys
guys.
can take
Thank
Take
you
off
so
your
much for
artifact and just hold
participating.
it.
Say- Guys, if you
Say your name really loud.
Come over to us.
This is Henry. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Henry. That was really nice.
Dude, that was awesome, man.
I am going to take screenshots. Hi, it's nice to see you guys. Good job. You're welcome. I was gonna try. Well, I didn't. We made one. How do I stop?